That was, there's no condition that unless if you break the covenant or not. That was forever.
Yeah, I know.
That forever means forever.
Yeah, but the problem is a covenant has agreements in it, so those agreements have to be kept.
Where is that agreement? That if you break it, it's not going to be applied anymore.
Yeah, but the problem is that when it's broken,
Yeah.
now God doesn't give you His protection anymore. So yeah, breaking that covenant isn't a light thing.
No, but if you're a law-abiding Israelite or descendant of Abraham, you must follow that covenant. If you're law-abiding descendant of Abraham, you must follow that covenant.
Yeah, but the problem is that covenant that was given to Abraham and his descendants, and then the one that was given to Israel was given to Israel as a nation.
But Israel is the descendant of Abraham.
Yeah, but remember they got a covenant which was different because they were going into a land, whereas Abraham was where Abraham was going, he was, because the covenant is specific, is also specific according to the land they live in. It's not just a random thing that God throws out. He actually puts specifics in it.
Abraham was forever. Your descendants are forever.
Yeah, I know that.
It's not restricted to the land or time. It's forever.
Well, anyway, I'll read this.
Unless you show me it was only further restricted for the land or certain people, it's not.
No,
That's my understanding.
Yeah, but I'll read this one. This is Jeremiah 30 and 31 and 31. It says, "Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was a husband unto them, saith the Lord. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, saith the Lord, I will put my law in their inward parts, and write it in their hearts, and will be their God, and they shall be my people." So notice, when Moses came down from the mountain, he had the 2 tables of stone, which were part of the covenant, and also
10 commandments.
Yeah, but notice what he said here. He said that now he'll write it in their hearts. So that's a change to how he's going to bring the commandments to them. Because they broke it, as I read there, he's now going to come with a new one because they broke it. That's the reason why he's coming with a new covenant. I can read it again if you want.
No, I understand that. So because you break the covenant, which is supposed to be forever,
Yeah.
God changed it. Because you break it, so God changed the covenant.
Yeah, because he had to. Because
but he's telling Abraham is going to be forever.
Yeah, but Abraham kept it, didn't he?
Yeah, but it's not only Abraham, his descendants and forever. And we know they are still descendants of Abraham right now.
Yeah,
Yes.
but remember,
even Muslims, Arabs are descendants of Abraham as well.
No, but they didn't get that covenant.
No.
Ishmael didn't get it.
In that, you know when that covenant was given to Abraham. What circumstances the covenant was given to Abraham?
Oh, you're talking about the circumcision one.
Circumcision of Ishmael and Abraham.
Yeah.
Then God gave him the covenant. So, and his descendant. So Ishmael's children are also descendants of God. And what I'm saying is Abraham's descendants are still in the world. And the God said, my covenant is to you, your descendants forever.
Yeah.
There's no condition there that if you break it, it's not going to be forever. So I don't know what you...
About the new covenant, does it mention any specific changes to the old one?
Yeah, I read the main one here where he says he'll put the law in their heart. So it's not going to be someone's not going to bring down 2 stones to read. So that's a change from how the old covenant was.
That's what Jesus said, wasn't it? Like you obey the letter of the law, but you violate the heart of the law. You say what other people should do, but you've not got it in your heart, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I guess.
I don't remember that. What we're talking about specifically about circumcision here. When Jeremiah was writing that, how long ago was Jeremiah?
That was just some hundreds of years before Jesus. Yeah.
So after Jeremiah, when he wrote, the Jews stopped doing circumcision?
No, because the old covenant didn't end until Jerusalem was destroyed, and technically it was when Jesus was crucified and the veil in the temple was torn. That's when the old covenant ended.
Why? Why old covenant ended then?
Because Jesus with his blood brought the new covenant. So once his blood was spilled, that was the
But that's not the Old Covenant. Doesn't say that. Old Testament doesn't say anything about that. That's the New Testament say that.
Yeah, no, but the thing about it is that the Old Covenant doesn't. When you write an Old Covenant, you're not going to say what's going to happen if they break it. The rules of the Old Covenant is that you shouldn't break it.
No, but Jews don't believe that. Jews don't believe in the Old and New Covenant the way you believe it, the way you understand
They
it.
believe in the Old.
No. They don't understand the New Covenant change the Old Covenant like you do.
Yeah,
Because
but
Jews still believe in the circumcision.
Yeah.
They still believe in the Sabbath. They still have all the old laws which was before the New Testament.
but they don't have all of them. No, there's a reason why. Because when God
Give me one example that they don't follow anymore. The Old Covenant.
the Day of Atonement, Pentecost, because Day of Atonement's the main one. Because Day of Atonement, there has to be a sacrifice every year in the temple.
Because there's no more temple, that's why.
Yeah, so that's
but
a part of the Old Covenant.
But because there's no more temple, you couldn't do that without the temple. So
Yeah.
since there's no temple,
So the Old Covenant's
and
gone.
they're waiting for the Messiah to come, who's going to build the new temple.
Well, they wish. Yeah,
well, that's what they're waiting for.
Yeah.
They think when the Messiah will come, he's going to build the new temple. Then we have our own great Israel, whatever it is. So they can't do that. That is practically, it's not practical because there's no temple.
Which shows you they're not under the Old Covenant anymore. Because part of the covenant was that yearly
that one
sacrifice.
little law, which is no, but that's something to do with temple. Give me some law which they can do physically, but they're not doing it for some other reason.
Yeah, but that Day of Atonement is one of the biggest ones, because basically it was a yearly sacrifice which was to atone for the sins of Israel, and it had to happen every year at the whatever altar God designated, and that altar moved into the temple. So the fact that God had the temple destroyed along with that altar for the Day of Atonement, that shows he
Can I ask you a
cancelled.
question? Was temple ever destroyed before as well? There was a time when there was no temple in the past.
Yeah.
When was that? Solomon time?
No. It was the time of Jeremiah because
So there was no temple there.
because the temple got destroyed
Was
by
they doing Day
Nebuchadnezzar.
of Atonement at that time?
No,
Why?
because they couldn't do it.
Because there's no temples.
Yeah.
Even though covenant still applied, they haven't forgot they didn't forgot the covenant. They didn't abandon the covenant, but because practically there's no temples, so they couldn't do it. Same as right now. If you build the temple today, they're going to start doing the covenant. They haven't abandoned it.
No, but that's
But
fine
they just can't
because
practically do it. You understand what I mean?
yeah, but the reason why they had to keep going is because before the temple was destroyed, Jeremiah already prophesied that 70 years after the destruction, the Judah would return to start rebuilding the temple. Not necessarily, but after 70 years they would return. So the prophecy was already given of their return before the destruction of that first temple. So they knew that the covenant was going to continue because God already promised.
Give me an example. The covenant, they abandoned it. They haven't abandoned it because the temple is not there, so they can't do it.
Yeah.
Without the temple, they can't do the Day of Atonement. Give me something that they can do it, but they just abandon it because of the old covenant, because the new covenant have changed things. Give me an example like that. This temple one, because temple is not there. It happened in the past, and it will happen in the future as well.
Yeah, but the problem is, before the destruction of that
You
first
understand
temple.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
give me something like we're talking about circumcision here, isn't it?
Yeah, but
The Jews haven't abandoned circumcision, but the Christians have.
Right, but the thing about it is that with the central part of the covenant with Israel is that God would have a place with them, because once Moses received basically once they came out of Egypt, one of the first things that God had Moses do was to build a tabernacle so that God would have a presence in a part of the tabernacle. And so that was permanently with Israel up until Nebuchadnezzar destroyed the temple. But then before that temple was destroyed, it was already prophesied that they would come back and rebuild it. But then after Jesus died, there's no prophecy of any at some set time after Jesus died and resurrected.
What Jews says about this? Jews don't believe Jesus was the Messiah,
Yeah, but my point is,
so they're still waiting for the Messiah.
no, but they didn't get a prophecy to say that at some point the temple would come back and God's presence would be in there. They don't have that prophecy.
So you don't think they're still waiting for the temple will be built again? Jews are.
Yeah, but
I don't want to speak for Jews, but my understanding is they're still waiting for Messiah will come back, and he's going to build the temple, and we'll still have then we'll have Day of Atonement and all these things as they used to.
yeah. But the thing about it is that they're reading that from Ezekiel. The only problem is that it says there that the prince will be come back. But then if you actually read the verses before in Ezekiel, you actually have. You ever heard of the Battle of Armageddon? You ever heard of that?
I heard about it.
Yeah. So in the same Ezekiel, Armageddon actually happens before the part about the temple. So they're not going to be getting a temple like a time now if they read Ezekiel and go by what
I
it
don't
says.
want to argue on their behalf. Give me any other example of anything else they abandoned of the old covenant, apart from the Day of the Atonement.
Yeah, but you know that is the biggest one.
No,
Though.
we are going circular argument. I just told you that the temple is not there, so they can't do it. It happened in the past as well. Give me something else. Remember, there are more than 300 laws. More than 300. You just give me one example. Give me another one.
Yeah, but the problem is, see, the thing about it is, you might be seeing it from the Islamic perspective, where you have these different things you have to do. But with God, there's certain things which are like a lot higher, which is one of the reasons why the veil was torn when Jesus died, because that tearing of the veil was a significant event, because it meant that no longer was God hidden behind the veil like he was supposed to when the inside the temple.
But not every gospel writer said that. What you said about the tearing of the veil.
Yeah,
did Mark say that?
Yeah, but none of them disagreed. That's the thing.
No,
So
Mark didn't mention that tearing of the curtains.
yeah, but there's lots.
I think it's only Luke says that.
Yeah, but there's lots he didn't mention.
Why, if it's so important, the curtains were torn, it's so important, why Mark forgot, why Matthew forgot? Why only Luke is mentioning it?
No,
What's going on? Even the Luke is not even a disciple of Jesus.
no, because when we read the witness of the Christians in the later verses, they don't say that God is there in the temple anymore. So we're going by that. We don't go
I'm
by.
just saying, I think we're talking about the covenant. Why old covenant is not valid anymore?
Yeah, and I'm saying
Remember,
that.
we start talking about the circumcision.
Yeah.
God told Abraham, my covenant with you will be forever. Forever means forever. It's not until the covenant is broken. It doesn't say that.
No, but you need to remember that covenant.
He's saying that until the covenant is broken, isn't it?
Yeah, but
If the circumcision is until the covenant is broken.
but you do know a covenant is an agreement between two parties.
Yes.
So one party can always break a covenant.
So if you break it, you're doing the sin. You're going against God.
Yeah.
When God says circumcision is forever, Abraham is descendants forever. So anybody comes in the way, I don't believe you. Yes, he's breaking the covenant, but he's going against the commandment of God. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So doing a circumcision, following the commandment of God. If you're a descendant of Abraham.
Yeah. If
If you're not,
if you're under
then
that
you're going
covenant.
against the commandment of God. It's not like so easy. Oh well, I don't follow the covenant. It's going to be sin if you're not following the covenant.
Jeremiah talks about a new covenant.
You can always
doesn't he?
establish. the
Yeah, I
covenant.
already read that to him.
Jeremiah,
Yeah, but I've read it. But he's trying to he's trying to find like a little way of saying that the old covenant is still in
And
force.
Jesus said this is a cup of the new covenant.
Yeah, I
The
know.
least will be
My blood
in the
poured
kingdom of
out to
heaven.
you.
Ask him.
I think it's
It's talking about like Jesus in Matthew 5 says, anybody leave the least of the commandment will be called least in the heaven.
Yeah.
That's what the question he's asking.
It's that mainly for the Ten Commandments, isn't it? That's why.
No. It's all of the commandments. But what you have to understand is the commandments that are given. You have commandments which are a part of the covenant, and ones which are to do with sin. But yes, if you break the commandments which are related to the covenant, it's a sin.
Yeah.
But then, even if some of your people who you disagree with break the covenant, and then means everyone is out of the covenant, you still have to keep the commandments related to sin, even if God has like pushed you out of the land because the covenant is broken. Because remember, when the Romans came and destroyed Jerusalem, there was no like.
So maybe I'm misunderstanding you. So covenant is not commandment. That's what
No,
you're
yes,
saying?
No.
thinking that, yeah.
That's what you're saying? Covenant is not a commandment.
Yeah, the covenant is an agreement, and there are commandments in the agreement. That's
The
how.
covenant of circumcision is an agreement with God.
No. That's a commandment in the agreement.
That's a commandment in the agreement.
Yeah.
So that commandment is still valid. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but only if you're only if God hasn't broken the agreement with you, because
why okay, God broken the other agreement? God
Yeah,
has broken
yeah.
that agreement.
yeah, because of sin. If the Israelites sin, God can't just
Show me that verse again where God says I broke that agreement.
oh,
The old agreement is broken.
yeah,
What is that, Jeremiah?
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. No. It's
God
not.
said I am breaking the old agreement with you, old covenant with you.
No. But let me read it. So
It
it's,
says talks about the new covenant, not like the old covenant. It's in Jeremiah, right?
yeah. I'm reading. So this is.
Between those two.
So Jeremiah 31:31. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel, and with the house of Judah.
Sorry, 30 what? 30, 31?
31:31.
Oh, 31. Read that again, sorry.
Yes.
I'll check later on.
Yeah, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was an husband unto them, saith the Lord. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord. I will put my law in their inward parts, and write it in their hearts, and will be their God, and they shall be my people.
Oh,
That's
so they
prophecy.
broke the covenant because they started worshipping the calf straight away, didn't they, after Moses?
No.
Before.
No, but he still forgave them for that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So he's giving a prophecy, is it? This is the prophecy of Jeremiah?
It's
Yeah,
prophecy
yeah,
of
yeah.
the new covenant. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
Prophecy of the new covenant.
Yeah.
Okay. So my problem here is when God says, maybe my understanding is completely wrong, when God told Abraham this covenant of circumcision
Yeah.
is with you and your descendants forever.
Yeah.
So my understanding of forever is forever. It's not until the covenant is broken. Or are you somehow trying to
No.
say that forever actually doesn't mean forever? It means until you break the covenant.
No, but that's
That's what you
that's the nature of covenant, though. A covenant is the only way for what you say to
God is
happen.
all knowing, isn't he? He knows the future. When he says that forever, he should know that it's not going to be forever. Why he say that forever?
No, but then he'd have to drop some sort of magic spell on them to make them go around like robots, isn't it? And since God doesn't do that, he's not going to physically restrain them and just make them go around like robots.
But he can
to-
see the future.
I mean, Paul explains
Yeah, and he
that.
did, which is why the prophets told them that Moses even told them that they were going to get booted out the land before they went there, and they still ignored what Moses said and still carried on sinning, even though God already told Moses to tell them they were going to get booted out the land afterwards. So what God does with these foreknowledge is give you warning, and you can choose whether you listen to him or not. And it's the same thing with the covenant. So the covenant was given. Yeah, God knew they were going to break
Why
it.
Jews are still following circumcision as a law? Why?
No, because
not
they
like
don't-
you.
no.
They're not understanding the Bible like you. They read the same Bible, but they follow circumcision very strictly, religiously.
They haven't accepted the Messiah.
No, but it's real more because they don't have a
Is that what
choice.
it is? They don't accept the Messiah?
No, but they don't really have a choice, because if they didn't follow those things, then people would then ask them, okay, how can you be Jews? Because that's one of the requirements, isn't it? So they're more following it just so that they can be the people.
Is that it?
Yeah, because if they didn't follow it, then everyone would say they're not the people. isn't it?
Couldn't they say that, look, this part of the covenant was done. We are still Jew, but this part of the covenant was broken, so we are not under the law to do circumcision. Couldn't they say that as you saying that?
No, but this is the thing. Some of them do. If you go to
Yeah?
Israel, if you go to Israel now, that's how some people behave. If you actually, I don't know if you've ever been there.
No, so they don't believe in circumcision.
No, what it is
We're talking about besides this.
no.
Talk about
If
circumcision.
they haven't come to Christ, then their circumcision still stands. If
Well,
they come to Christ, they're
no,
under the
no.
new covenant.
No, the covenant's broken, so that's why it doesn't stand.
What do you mean? What covenant?
Because it's down to God to stipulate the agreements, the covenants. So
But there's a new covenant in Christ.
yeah,
Once you come into Christ, the old covenant is done away with. I understand that. It's no longer stands. But the new covenant now
When the covenant
stands.
is broken.
yeah.
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt your.
No, I just want to know when the covenant was broken.
Hmm?
When exactly the covenant was broken, the old covenant.
No. What happened is that Israel sinned, which you can read of loads of in the Old Testament, and God kept on letting them off and letting them stay in the land. But gradually, things were getting worse and worse. But officially, the time when the covenant was broken is when the veil tore, when Jesus died, when his blood spilled. Because his blood was spilled to bring the new covenant. Because at Sinai,
That's why he's saying that. Isn't it?
yeah, because at Sinai, Moses had to kill a cow, I think it was, and sprinkle the blood over the children of Israel, and that was the sign of that covenant that God gave to them.
Okay.
So
Fair enough. I'll look into that a little bit more. But for me, the statement of it will be forever is the important one. I mean, forever means forever, and not up to some time.
No, but what that means is forever means God isn't going to break it. If you keep it, at no point ever is God ever
Well, I
going
see
to.
what you're saying. From God's side, it still stands. It's the people who
it
not
doesn't
kept
stand.
it.
No. But when God says forever, it means He's not going to ever break it as long as they keep to the agreement. But it's because it's agreement that's the actual problem, not because there was anything wrong with what God said or did. But it's like you could say that, oh, God should never make an agreement. But the problem is, if God never makes an agreement with someone where they have to keep part of it, they'll never get the benefits of what He wants to give them, because He can't give them rewards unless they have an agreement. It's like when you got a job, you actually have a contract, isn't it?
Is this your understanding, or is it the scholars that say the same thing as well? Or what are you saying? Old covenant was broken when the curtains were torn.
Yeah,
Is that the commentary?
Yeah, you should find that.
Scholars that say
That's
same
what you should find. That's what they'll say.
I'll look into that.
If you find a scholar who doesn't, then make sure to get their name so I can read what they say. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I'm not going to argue anymore on that point, because what you're saying is okay. Fair enough. Maybe that's right.
Also, Paul talks about the circumcision of the heart.
Yeah, that's part of the new covenant.
Yeah.
So it's
the
not.
circumcision that God's looking for now is the circumcision of the heart. Maybe.
But didn't Paul generally say you don't have to follow any law? Did he say that?
No.
Law doesn't apply anymore. Jesus had died for your sins.
No, see what you just said there. He never said that. What it is there's certain things. I can read. I'll read the.
Galatians, isn't it?
Yeah, there's two. There's Colossians 2, and the other one is Galatians 5, I think.
What about Sabbath? You practice Sabbath?
Yeah.
The Sabbath, the Christians don't.
Some of them do.
Your brothers, Hebrew Israelites.
No. Jesus in one place said, "I am the Lord of the Sabbath." So what as Christians, the New Testament teaches us that we don't have to keep the law. We're into this now new covenant, which is a covenant of grace in Christ. Christ was the end of the law.
Didn't James say that you still have to follow the law? James say that?
No, he didn't say. Oh, you're talking about if you break one of them. Yeah.
No, yeah. James say that is your work, your faith is nothing without work. You have to follow the work.
Yeah, but then
as
he
well.
gives an example of being that if you claim to be people of God,
James 3.
how can you neglect the poor? So he's using that as an example. So he's using, be kind to the poor, so your work of kindness can reflect of your faith. So that also regards to that. So in regards to keeping all the Old Testament laws, the only law as Christians do have to keep are the Ten Commandments, but that's basic for everyone. That's basic for humanity.
Ten Commandments.
Yeah.
Why Ten Commandments is basic?
It's basic because you don't want to murder, do you?
Yeah, but Ten Commandments is part of the laws. Yeah, why those 10 are more important than the other 300?
The other 300 laws.
Why
to do with
differentiate?
animal sacrifices and stuff. Sacrifices for your sins, which Christ fulfilled.
This is what Paul's saying, is that so faith by itself, if it has no works, is dead. So here is not talking only faith, works as well. And the works, of course, the law tells you what to do or not to
keep
do.
on reading
But someone will say, you have faith and I have works. Show me your faith apart from your works.
Yeah, and I'll show you my faith by my works.
By my works will show you my faith.
Yeah, and then carry on reading.
You believe that God is one.
Even the demons believe.
You do well. Even the demons believe and shudder. Do you want to be shown, you shallow man, that faith apart from works is barren? So faith apart from works is barren.
Yeah, but it depends.
But the
What
Paul is
words
saying the other way around.
Okay.
Paul is saying the other way around.
Paul's talking about
He says
justification.
to have faith. Faith is for your salvation, not works, isn't it?
I'd love to
This is
me
a
to
warning
find that
to us
one.
Christians.
And I know Paul never
that
said that.
we don't just sit under the umbrella of grace and do nothing. Right? But when Paul talks about the law, that's our doctrine. But that doctrine, if it's not balanced with works, we will become idle and lazy in regards to our faith.
I'm just trying to find what Paul says.
Paul is Galatians chapter 3, I think.
Well, anyway, here's one from James that you might like. It's James 4:11. It says, "Speak not evil one of another, brethren. He that speaketh evil of his brother and judgeth his brother, speaketh evil of the law and judgeth the law. But if thou judge the law, thou art not a doer of the law, but a judge. There is one lawgiver who is able to save and to destroy. Who art thou that judgest another?" So the thing you see what he's talking about the law there. He's not talking about circumcision, because that was one of the. Oh, is that Didat or is it
Yeah, somebody gave me the Ahmed.
Oh yeah. I got the PDF of that.
I don't normally read. I'm just looking into it.
Yeah.
Something quickly if the Paul some statement goes against Jesus.
Yeah.
You know the Ten Commandments. You think it's quite high, isn't it? As a law.
But that's standard for
I know.
human being, mankind,
But
right?
I find it a little bit. What do you call it? Upsetting. Reading
Why?
Ten Commandments. One of the commandments I just don't get it. When it says God says, He will visit the iniquities of the parents.
That's not in the Ten Commandments.
It is in the part of the Ten Commandments. If you read the whole Exodus, God visit the iniquities of the parents to the third and the fourth generation.
Yeah.
To children. Yeah, this is within the Ten Commandments, isn't it? It's within the Ten Commandments.
Yeah, so
The Ten Commandments, Exodus
it's the second.
20 or Exodus 3?
No, 20. It's the second commandment.
Second commandment. Thank
Yeah,
you very
yeah.
much. So what I'm saying is, parents do the sin. Why children have to pay for it, and why children are also guilty of that sin up to the third and fourth generation? To me, that's not very just of God.
Yeah, but the thing about it is that all God's really doing is showing that when we do wrong, it has consequences.
Serious consequences. That will
So what God could do is, of course, hide people from that.
What consequences, for example?
Well,
If I'm a very sinner man, my son could have been a very good man and live a very good and healthy life with the blessings of God. Why? Because I am sinner, he's already guilty up to the third and fourth generation. That doesn't make sense.
No, because he's showing that this is what happens. Because the same thing happens with man as well. Because look at Germany. Notice that they're still paying Israel, aren't they? Yeah, you know about it. Yeah.
No, that's like one of example. I'm just giving you one.
Yeah, but
example.
it is the same thing.
But no, that's not.
Yeah, the iniquity of what Hitler did has been visited on.
No, this is meaning. This is just general. It's not talking about precise one particular community. If you do that, your third, fourth generation is going to pay for that.
But that's
He
exactly
says,
what.
One moment. He's talking about the Lord will visit the iniquities of the parent. Meaning, is the God going to visit? God is going to be making them guilty or charging them. In the eyes of God, they are. Not if parents do something, the children will pay because the world will treat them that way. They'll be punished in a worldly way. He's saying God, in the eyes of God, they are guilty.
But then look at the
So it's training.
In the eyes of God, Germans are not guilty what they're paying for the Israel. No. Now Germans, they are not guilty for what their parents done. Well, they are paying
But
because.
so iniquities be visited by the UN on the
I
children.
know, but not by God. No, but
Yeah, by the UN, yeah.
No, but not by God.
Yeah.
The God, in the eyes of God, if you're a good German human being right now, You can't be guilty what Hitler and his crew
But
have
you
done.
still have to shell out your cash.
But the problem here is that God is visiting the iniquities.
Yeah.
That's what I don't
But then he
understand.
also says, "I'll bless you for your obedience for 1,000 generations." Look at the blessing.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, the curse is for 3 generations, but the blessings for
Because
1,000 generations.
we believe our God is kind and merciful and just.
Yeah.
So giving mercy to even if you done nothing is good thing. But punishing somebody if you done nothing, that's not just. Not only that, another one says that if anyone has a bastard, if you have a child out of marriage, wedlock, bastard, the bastard will not enter the assembly of the Lord until 10 generations.
Yeah.
So if your parents have committed adultery and you born out of wedlock and you are a bastard, meaning you will never enter the temple, assembly of the Lord, and not to your 10 generations, not enter the assembly of the Lord. I
but
mean,
what-
what is the
what's-
fault?
what-
What is the fault of a child whose parents give him birth without
That's
out
a
of marriage?
warning. That is
Yeah,
a warning
no.
to the people of God at that time. Hey guys, it's best that you obey. If you don't obey, there's going to be serious
I agree with
consequences.
you. And one, if warning is good. If you do that, what God says, I'm going to punish you so badly, making example of you. But God cannot say that your child, who's completely innocent, has no fault of it. That child will not enter the assembly of the Lord. I mean, what is the fault of the child? The child says, "It's not my fault. Why are you stopping me from your blessing?"
But you do realise all that means is that you can't be a priest. So what is so difficult about that? You can still eat food, you can still go get a wife, and
up to 10 generations.
yeah, but they can still live. They can still live a normal life.
Nobody says they can't live, but
Yeah,
why,
so there's
why
nothing-
they are,
there's
why
not a
they are
problem.
treated differently like this? Their fault. It's not their fault.
No, but because
It's to encourage obedience.
Thank you very much. What about Ezekiel 18, when it says that the children of father are not guilty for the sins? I'm paraphrasing it. Sins of the children are not guilty for the sins of the father.
Yeah.
But here exactly it says that your parents have committed sin, children are guilty of that. Contradiction.
so you're saying Ezekiel was talking to God when he said that?
It's an inspiration of God, isn't it?
No,
Inspired word of God.
but was Ezekiel talking to God, telling him that this is the commandment?
God was inspiring.
Yeah,
The inspiration of God.
yeah, to tell the children of Israel that that's what the rule is. Yeah, but it's not him, Ezekiel, telling God that this is what the rule God is under.
No, he was inspired by God. So it's God speaking through
to tell the children of Israel. Yeah, but this is God visiting the iniquity, so it did two different things. So how the children of Israel do it?
If God is inspiring, the parents' sins are not followed to the children,
Yeah.
pass on to children. The children's sins are not passed on to parents. But on the other hand, God is doing opposite to that. God says, I am going to be visiting the iniquities of the parents to the children. You understand? God is inspiring one thing, but acting in a different way. So that's a contradiction, isn't it?
No,
Further
because
down
he.
the new covenant starts coming in. Yeah, that's
No,
why Ezekiel then.
No, the new covenant is when Jesus came. Before then, it's still old
We're
covenant.
talking about the Old Testament here.
Yeah.
I know.
So the bastard will be not enter the assembly of the Lord. And you say what that means, assembly of the Lord? Not entering the assembly of the Lord, what it means? Not to be priest. That's what it means?
Well, that's all. Because you see, the thing about it is, if it means not being in Israel, then you have to be cut off. So as long as it doesn't say cut off, that means they're still in
No,
the.
what's the meaning of assembly of the Lord? What it means?
No, that's my interpretation.
Educate me. I don't know what it is. I think you can't enter the temple. You can't enter the worship.
No, I still think it means you just can't. It sounds to me like you just can't be take part in anything to do with the temple.
Thank you very much. So
Yeah.
the child whose parents have committed adultery, it could be a very good human being. Not only him. Okay, fair enough. My parents were bad. What about my child? Okay. Okay. What about the 10 generations? You cannot enter the assembly of the Lord, and I think that is the reason that David was not allowed to build the temple, because he was 10th of the children of the bastard. He was in the 10th generation. Do you know that?
No.
David was the 10th generation of, the one who slept with her father-in-law, with the Jacob.
Yeah, you mean Lot, but no, but
Tamar. Tamar's children, if you see the genealogy of Jesus in Matthew or Luke,
Yeah.
David is right on the edge, the 10th.
God says to David,
but that wasn't the-
because he's got too much blood on his hands. That's why he can build it.
But David entered the assembly of the Lord, didn't he? But he was the 10th one from those Tamar's children.
No. But you see, there was only a tabernacle at that time. Tabernacle was the 10th. So they didn't have the temple in David's time.
So there was no assembly of the Lord in the
No,
time
he's
of
talking about
David.
assembly, though, isn't he?
Assembly
Yeah,
of the Lord.
but it's probably no.
Yeah, you're playing with me here. That's why my brother helping me. Assembly of the Lord
No,
is
this
nothing to do with
is a
temple.
good conversation.
Yeah.
This I really like. This education.
So what I find is my God in the Quran tells me again and again, chapter 5 verse 8, be just, be upright, be witnesses of truth. And it says justice is next to piety. Then in chapter 4 verse 135 says, be just, even be against yourself, against your parents, against rich or poor, against your relatives, you need to be just. So for me, this is not justice. That somebody commit a sin, but somebody else be punished for that, that's not justice.
God puts a stop to that in Ezekiel.
Soul can't be burdened onto someone else. The sins of one soul can't be.
Hold a minute. Abbas.
Basically, each soul is accountable
Yeah,
for their own
that's
sin. No, in no way can another soul be accountable for the sins.
that's why Ezekiel saying that.
Yeah, Ezekiel.
Abbas, yeah.
When the Ten Commandments came, right, Israelites, they actually saw the glory of God on Mount Sinai. Right. The closer you come to God, the more standard of